October 15th, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-futures mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. Let me just go ahead and do that. So it looked like it had a small consolidation, a sell-off, another small, well, longer consolidation, and another sell-off. So it looked like it was stair step. And this is how I drew the charts today. Kind of had this trading range, two-piece sell-off, couple legs, another sell-off, kind of choppy. I found a lot of measured moves that occurred. And overall, I took two trades today. They were both profitable. The first one, well, I gotta say, actually, in real time, this chart has changed since when I last traded because I actually did a data reload. So if you go into NinjaTrader, you can reload all historical data. And it actually caused some of my setups to look worse than they were. But I'll discuss them when I get there because some of the trades now, when I went back and started preparing for my notes, I noticed that you look at it and you'll, to me, I'd look at it like, why did I take that trade if that setup looks so terrible? But the problem is the setup was okay at the time. And then after the data reload, NinjaTrader does that sometimes. It causes the candles or the bars, either, some data from one candle rolls to the next one or rolls to the one before. So it makes the chart look a little bit different. So there was no economic data that came out today that really caused the market to move. And this is kind of a continuation from, I guess, well, not continuation. This is yesterday. There was a huge push and rally. I wasn't able to trade yesterday. And then it kind of took everything back. So this is kind of like the low of yesterday. And it went and reclaimed all that all the way back down, which is kind of interesting. So I'll also notice that it made, which didn't really help, but I did notice at the end, it was made one big leg, consolidation, and another big leg. So as I said, there was a lot of measured moves that are completed and achieved. So in the pre-market, it was just kind of choppy. It sold off, bounced, and on the open, trading wasn't the most obvious because there's a lot of candles with big wicks and smaller bodies. So it's just very, very spiky, harder to trade, harder to trust the strength of a bull or bear bar. So kind of had to leave it alone. It hit this consolidation area. I thought this was some kind of support resistance right here, resistance here, and I had support here, but I eventually drew it here. So it's hitting a trading range, and it finally broke out in this very clean leg down. I thought this was a failed breakout in real time. I was thinking it might move back in, but it never did. I mean, excuse me, it did briefly, and then it flushed back down. So I was expecting a measured move down to here. It goes further than that. And this is actually where I take my first setup. And as I said, this setup right now looks terrible, but in real time, it looked much better. So it broke out, and I do know that there was a low here, pre-market low. It almost tested it, but I considered it pretty much achieved right here. It was pushing up, and it made a first entry short, pulled back, made a second entry short here. Now, the problem with this is EMA is holding prices down. I did have this trend channel support, trend channel, this yellow trend channel going down. I had this orange one going up, break, and this is a terrible looking setup because this isn't a very good signal bar. Like, granted, you have a first entry short, pullback, second entry short, and at the time, it looks odd that I would take it way up here for no apparent reason. But I, I think I'll start recording my or taking a screen capture of my trade after things have settled down, just in case another one of these incidences with the data reload changes the candle. But you'll see that it seems odd that I would take it way up here. I can explain because this candle didn't look like this before. I was actually one tick, I think, below whatever this candle was. And I entered seeing it was like a first entry long, pullback, potential second entry long, because I initially marked it as a failed second entry long, but it doesn't even look like a second entry long yet. That failed until you get to about here. But you do have a clean second entry short. But the signal bar is terrible. There's no reason to have taken this trade as it stands now. But at the time, this was a more bearish signal bar and it wasn't this big. So that's besides the point now. What at real time, what I did see was I entered here because I was expecting another push down with enough room to hit the bottom with this down channel resistance helping and a rejection off the EMA. But it doesn't look like that anymore. And I got my 1 point scalp. I trailed my runner down and I moved it to my break even plus one tick, which is right here. So I got stopped out. So Although this looks terrible at the time, as I said, I thought, a reasonably decent setup. But prices moved down, and this actually affects my second trade too, because I took the second trade, and later I stepped away from my desk, came back, refreshed the data, and then again, the second setup looks a little lame. Looks a little bit like there's no reason to have taken that trade. So prices start moving down. There's no way, no clean way that I could see to get into this. You do have a second entry short here. It was too far from the EMA. It's a break of this green down channel. You could expect it to test the low, but in real time, this is where the low is. So there's not a comfortable amount of room to scalp out. It bounces. It breaks this green down channel. So it already broke, tested the lows. It moves up on this orange up channel. Technically, it made a first entry long pullback, and it's about to make a second entry long here. So I'm very certain that this candle was a little bit lower by one tick. So I saw first attempt up, pullback, second attempt up. So the second attempt up here, it's also a failed second entry short. New low here, first entry short, pullback, second entry short, second entry short. Technically, it hasn't failed here. It fails on this candle. But as I said, in real time, this set up pretty nicely. And I thought this was a possible trade because it's a break of this orange up channel, one attempt up, pullback, second attempt up. But again, right now, it just doesn't look that way anymore. Prices continue moving. I also saw a failed second entry short here. Well, this saw this as a new low. It's a first entry short, push, 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 push. Up here, you have a second entry short here. You need a second entry short failure here. I thought this is a possible trade. It is aggressive because the engulfing signal bar, which is this guy right here, has a really strong close at the top, which I like. And I like that it moved one tick below and flushed back up. And I honestly don't remember it looking exactly like this, but as it stands now, if I were looking at this right now, then this looks like a reasonably good trade because I'm not too worried about the resistance here now because it's pushed above the EMA at this point. You don't really have a trading range, so I'm not too worried about another pushback down. It already pushed up once, made a higher high here, and then it matched here. So this is an aggressive trade also because this is a rather large candle. It's about 15 ticks, so it is larger than I prefer. Prices then continue moving up, pushes down, and this sets up for my second trade. So there's a new high here. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. I also saw a new low here, first entry short. Now there is a second entry short here because when I was trading this in real time, it was the same issue as the first trade. And after the reload of the historical data, this is a decent signal bar. It was bullish. And you can see that I'm actually 3 ticks above where I should be. That's because there's actually only one tick. So some data from here should be actually over here, and some data from here might be over here, or vice versa. So I saw it as first entry long pullback, really decent signal bar, second entry long, probably right at the EMA, and I entered, well, actually it has to probably be right at the EMA because I entered one tick above. But with the data reload, it looks like a terrible trade. So it's a new low, first entry short, second entry short, failure. You don't have a second entry short even here yet. You have a hidden second entry short, but if this candle was slightly lower and this one's slightly one tick higher, then you do have the first entry short, second entry short. But as I said, after the data reload, it just looks really weird. Now, when I went up on this, because I know my stop was down here to accommodate for the 4.3, I think it's almost 4-point stop loss, I wanted to get at least 2 points. So it comes down and makes a matching bottom. It hasn't stopped me out yet because my exit or my stop was one tick below where this cursor is. And then you see it flushes up. It hits my break-even point, and I had all this time right now to jump out break-even, but I trusted the setup, which doesn't look like it anymore. And I was able to get my 2-point scalp. So it's from here, 89.25 from 87.25, and then I move my runner, and this is also where it looks a little weird because these candles don't look this way anymore. I move my runner one tick below each subsequent candle. So this candle should actually be a little bit larger, and it should be like this. You can see where my runner got stopped at. It should be right under this guy. So this candle got a little bit, it got some data from this guy flushed over, or this one flushed over, vice versa. I'm not sure. So it just looks like my runner got stopped out for some strange reason, like I think 1 point below this guy. Actually, it's, yeah, 3 ticks below that guy, which I usually don't do. So anyway, it's hard to explain, but I saw a decent trade at the time. Prices then continue moving. It hits the top of what I think is a potential range, or at least a resistance area. Is a first entry long, second entry long, bad signal bar. first entry short, and then it kind of account resets, and it starts moving down on this orange down channel. No clean second entries that I could see. And I think about right here is where I took the break. And when I came back, did a data reload, refresh, that's when this stuff changed. And then at the end of the day, when I went back to look at it, looked at it and I wondered, why the heck did I take those trades? So that then I remembered, actually, this whole thing doesn't look this way anymore. So yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, but that's how things have gone. There's a new low here, as a new high. So it broke this orange down channel, tested the low, pushed up on this green channel, broke, and now it makes one attempt up, push back. It could potentially make a second attempt up. Now, this second attempt up, oh, I actually said it's a decent signal bar. So I actually think I took a break. I think a little later after this, because this was actually, I noted in my notes at the time, this is a decent signal bar, but it doesn't look that way now. There's a bounce off the EMA, which is preserved, and it is a break of this green up channel with a potential test of the high. So I think I called it a possible trade. So I don't think this candle might have supposed to be two candles or something. So this is actually a decent setup, but doesn't look that way now. And then it has a confirmed higher low, and the confirmed higher low I actually called it, oh, I know why. It's confirmed higher low as an almost trade because it doesn't look like this now. It's actually bearish, but it confirmed the second entry long. EMA was holding, and the price has already tested the high after the break of this green up channel. So it already tested the high, so I'm a little weary of going long on this higher low. And the signal bar actually didn't look that good. So then prices continue moving. It breaks above the EMA and starts flushing down, makes one leg pullback and a potential second leg down. So the first entry long, technically right here, second entry long, third entry long. I don't remember exactly what it looked like previously, but I'm just going to go forward now, assuming that this chart is accurate and delineating what happened in the past right back here. So it kind of moves, and then I do see a second entry long failure. There's a new high here, break of this magenta down channel, made one attempt up, and it kind of flushed back down, tested the lows technically. So you do have a first entry long pullback, second entry long failure. Second entry long failure, I thought it was a possible trade. This signal bar, ideally it would have closed at the low. There was a little bit of buying power that came back, but I thought it was, a definite strong push back below the EMA. EMA is starting to become more bearish. So I thought it might have been a possible trade because it's one attempt up and it still needs to test the low of this green down channel. This magenta down channel technically has tested here, but it might be making a second attempt down. Then I also saw another setup here. It's a new low, first entry short, second entry short. This is definitely an almost trade because there's not that much room to clear support here. It already tried once, twice, three times to push down and it failed. Granted, the overall bias of the market is moving down. I did consider big leg consolidation. Could there be another potential big leg down? Perhaps, but the immediate impact is it already tried a few times to hit the low, and this one even failed to reach there. So going short here with barely enough room to scalp out feels a little dicey. So if you did enter, it would have worked out, and you had no idea it was going to continue doing this. As a break of this yellow down channel, push up, gets rejected by the EMA, but there's no clean setup. This is actually a first entry short here. And you technically have a second entry short, but this isn't a good signal bar. And push back down, made two attempts up, hits a new localized new high, only a first entry long way down here. You could count on a smaller time frame, first entry long, potential second entry long, but I saw it as one big leg, and this is only the clear definitive first entry long. This potentially wants to test its low. This yellow down channel has tested its low, so the big down move on this yellow might have been played out, and I also consider that there was a measured move that has completed, so there's a probability, a chance that it could start a reversal or correction. Maybe not a big one, but at least a bounce here. So no trade here. You have first entry long pullback. If this candle had only ticked one tick above, then you have a second entry long, but it was also the wrong color. And EMA is starting to get horizontal, so nothing particularly that I like. And this is already moving into the last 30 minutes of the day. So it looks like there's a lot of price action, which there is, but it happens in a very short span of time, which just makes things extra dicey. So kind of a lesson learned today. I'm going to try to see if my system, I tried it before and it did bog down. I'm going to try to record my entire trading session so I can at least throw in some live trades. But last time I didn't really like how it affected other systems because I'm not just running NinjaTrader, I'm running Thinkorswim on another window, trading those with options and just regular stocks. So it's just extra things on my system I didn't really want to have bogged down. But at the very least, I think I might just take some screen captures before another reload of the historical data happens, like I'm doing now, that causes candles to shift and make me wonder why the heck I took certain trades. So that's pretty much how I saw it. Hopefully that was helpful.